The active preparation took you just about, I wouldn't even say proper 10 months, like 9.5 to 10 months to, get done with your exam. And on 5th November 2025, that's when you gave your first attempt and got CLB 8787 in reading, listening, writing and speaking. Your biggest motivation while you were learning French?
That I have to go back to India. I have no other option. My PR was the biggest motivation that I've had. And you have the whole course structure, because I was working full time at that time and my job was like really tough. For me, it was 100 kilometers that I have to drive every day. And I was super excited. A1, A2 was the most fun part, I would say. I gained a lot of confidence. So Saturday, Sunday was all about making notes, making readings. So A1, A2, it's all about French. That is what your goal must be in the first 2 to 3 months, right? Like Bhavya also said in his video that first 20 questions, it was very easy, short questions, right?
Yeah.
But as we got into administrative documents and as we got into the last ones, section B, which is where the time it's crucial. I was able to complete that in 27 minutes. When the examiner started the recording, pourriez-vous me préciser, pourriez-vous me décrire les mesures pour la sécurité publique?
Today, welcome Pulkit. How are you doing?
I'm very good. So how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing perfect. Thank you. So congratulations first of all for clearing the exam. Not only just clearing your TEF exam, but clearing it in the first attempt. How are you feeling?
I'm really feeling like surprised. For me, it was like, okay, when I got my result, I was like, oh, this was something I didn't expect.
Let's talk about your timeline as well, Pulkit. You started learning French with Frenchify last year in November. So you started with Frenchify A1 self-study program on 17th November 2024. You cleared that level and you went on to A2 on January 1st, 2025. And then you cleared A2 and went on to B1 program on 22nd Feb 2025. Okay. And in mid, there was a little bit of break from April to May for about 2 to 3 months, and you were also doing IELTS preparation in between, so we won't really be counting those 3 months in your prep. But after that, you started B2 Frenchify program on 1st September 2025. In total, the active preparation took you just about, I wouldn't even say proper 10 months, like 9.5 to 10 months to, get done with your exam. And on 5th November 2025, that's when you gave your first attempt and got CLB 8787 in reading, listening, writing and speaking. So what do you have to say firstly regarding this overall journey? How was the overall preparation like? Like, were you feeling confident right from the beginning, or was it like something you were still not sure of in the beginning and then later you build more confidence? How was that?
For the confidence, I mean, for regardless of if it's TEF preparation, I would say I don't have much confidence in me. And that is what everyone said to me, like even B2 students when I was speaking. You saw me in class when I was speaking, right?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, at least give your first attempt, no? And I wasn't confident throughout the journey. Because I was like, it's French, it's so difficult, it's super difficult. Even after giving the exam itself, I was like, oh, would I be clearing it, or did I do good in that? But yeah, that is my clearing the exam in the first attempt gave me the answer to that. That I wasn't confident, but I was supposed to be. But yeah, throughout the journey, I guess A1, A2 is the most interesting part, because I enrolled into the Frenchify A1 plus A2 self-study course.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like, okay, I had to do this. The whole course structure, that's so lovely, because before getting the A1, A2, I already did your playlist on YouTube, right? Yeah. I guess around 32 videos. And I was like, it's a 5-minute video, and each 5-minute video gives you something new to learn. And I was super excited. A1, A2 was the most fun part, I would say, for the self-study. I gained a lot of confidence. So A1, A2, it's all about grammar, and I wouldn't say perfect, having a perfection in all the topics. I still moved on to B1, completed my B1, the whole syllabus. Then after B1, this whole IELTS thing, I didn't study much, as I said. And just until August 11, the D-Day, the day I gave my resignation. I would say 4 weeks of notice I gave, and I messaged you that, hello sir, I want to continue again, that I have a big break now. So after that, you gave me admission back into B1. Okay, you can try speaking 2 to 3 weeks before I would say commencing B2.
Yeah.
And because I told you the day of my resignation, and I said, okay, let's start B2 after the day that I resign.
Yeah.
And so B2 was started in September, 2 months, almost 2 months from now.
Correct.
And that is when I was like, okay, let's go all in now.
And talking about B1, like why were you not able to join the sessions? Was it like because of work schedule? What happened?
Not work schedule. Again, I told you, I wasn't much confident into speaking. You have to speak in front of everyone, right? But it's what I felt was like it's only about 1 or 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Because I was shy only for the first 1 or 2 weeks, and then I was like, okay, speaking is my thing. And for speaking in the exam, I messed up. I really messed up in the exam. And even with a mess up, if I got a CLB7, I think my level is actually above above CLB7.
True. Yeah, because in the recent, like I think it was 3 days ago when we were doing 3-4 days ago when we were doing a mock B practice. That was the time when I mentioned you like it's easily CLB 8-9. But even in the exam, if you are not able to perform at your best possible, but still apart from that, you still got a very good score, which was CLB 7, which means ki you really have a strong fluency when it comes to learning a language. That even if you miss few things or even if your speaking does not go perfect in the exam, you are still able to achieve that high score. So that was great.
And I personally think speaking is my best out of all four modules.
Correct.
So speaking, it's a structure that we usually follow in Frenchify, and in B2 you'll have at least 3 sessions a week, and it'll be 3 sessions a week. What I personally think should be more than enough to see what other people use and to practice by your own self as well.
Correct. So yeah, let's discuss about now basic levels A1, A2. Okay, when you began at A1 and A2, obviously you will be beginning at A1. What was your mindset when you were starting this language learning journey, and also what was your overall approach to studying at A1, A2?
I never actually knew the structure before I watched your videos. So before commencing A1, A2, I again, like I mentioned, that I watched all of your videos on YouTube. So I can have. So I asked a lot of questions as well, if you remember, before joining your course. That how are your videos? Are they same as how you present them on YouTube? Because I really like the method that they are presented on YouTube. And for A1, A2, after I completed those videos, I was like, A1, A2, it's all about learning, right? It's just getting into consumption of that language. Because I have seen other courses, the ones that have 1 hour of video on each grammar topic. I was like, I cannot do an hour on each grammar topic, right? And for me, I was someone who didn't even know what a noun is in English, or what a verb is. So when I started French, I came to know, this is what you call a verb, this is what you call a noun. I was like learning English grammar as well at the same time. So and A1, A2 was mainly about that. That I got so excited for any video that I saw, because in 5 to 6 minutes I'm learning something new. So what is a verb? It was a new thing for me, right? And I'm learning the same thing in French as well. And you have the whole course structure, because I was working full time at that time, and my job was like really, really tough. For me, it was 100 kilometers that I have to drive every day to get to work. And one way when I usually come back to home, it's 100 minutes of drive, an hour and 40 minutes usually, and I don't have much time, right? Even if I have to watch a video at work as well. That is how I started A1, A2, watching videos at work, because it's only 5 minutes, right? Even in the break time, you can watch 6 minute two videos of 6 minutes, and you can revise that topic when you go back home. I was only looking to clear the exam. I researched a lot. I mean, believe me, before joining Frenchify, I researched every institute back there, and I was like, okay, this is someone. The only reason that is why I joined. This is someone who cleared without any structure, right? Because you have told in your stories that you didn't have any structure when you started learning. But I was like, if I should be following the person to learn what not to study. It's not about what to study, it's about what to leave. Because French language, it's like you have to learn 20,000 or let's say 100,000, or you are not doing that, right? It's mainly about what not to study, basically, right? So that's what I did in A1 A2. I didn't have to prepare for, oh, I have to be perfect in A1 or A2. Just do A1 and A2, revise and move on. Because up until B1 and B2, you will be revising the same topics. If you don't understand conditional, you'll be revising it once you get to B1 or B2. Because once you use that into writing, then you will comprehend it more. Because A2, learning in A1 and A2, it's only about having an idea. So that if you see a conditional word that or that you don't get confused at what is this AAIS after the future ending, right? So A1 A2 you can always keep re-revising after you get to B1 and B2.
Got it. And how many hours were you giving at A1 level and then at A2 level as well, regularly?
Yeah, as I mentioned, like I was working. I wasn't giving like full time. It was only 1 to 2 hours, I would say. A2 I was super excited. 2.5 hours. A1 A2, because the course it's like, oh, I want to complete this course. It's like super exciting for me. A1 A2 self study, and I'll go home. I'll study 5 topics today, or my goal is to study 10 topics today. But it was generally, because the videos are short, it was generally 2 hours when I was working, and I was working 5 days a week. So nothing on Saturday and Sunday. I was like opposite. So I didn't study. I only used to work on analysis of what to study. So I used to create my own material. All my books that I've studied throughout, I've created by my own. So whatever you said in a video, I used to write it down on a piece of paper, and then I used to give it to ChatGPT. Oh, this is what my professor explained. Now explain it into 4 pages. So Saturday, Sunday was all about making notes, making readings. Like I was telling you that if I don't know vocabulary about taking a plane, because A1 A2 it's all about that, like learning vocabulary and grammar. I'll be like, okay, let's create a story that Pulkit is going back to India, taking a flight after clearing his TEF exam. Well, I'll create that, and after each reading, there would be a vocabulary bank with French word, its article, and in bracket its English meaning.
Okay.
So it will explain, the vocab bank would explain, and ChatGPT can create it. It's a very simple command you have to give. The vocab bank would specify the article with the noun, and it would say n.m, masculine noun, and the meaning in English. So that made my learning a little simple. And this wasn't something that I used only in A1, A2 up until to the B2 exam, because when I had to explore reading Le Figaro or administrative documents, just the vocabulary banks kept getting more and more. So yeah, up until the exam, I was using the same method of reading the thing first, underlining what I didn't understand, and then reading the vocabulary bank.
When a person is a beginner in the language, there are a lot of beginners who face this challenge, that is regarding pronunciation. When a student starts learning a language, they are so much concerned about how will I get my pronunciation correct? How will I get my pronunciation correct? Now you started A1, A2 self-study. Okay, we have intensive programs as well. We have live sessions going on over there as well. But you started A1, A2 self-study, and you didn't have any live sessions, but you still was able to understand pronunciations quite well. So how did that work out for you?
Again, yeah. So pronunciation, it's about comprehension. A1, A2, B1. It's about that you comprehend. You see how a word is. You listen to how a word is pronounced, right? Basic A1, A2 listenings you do, and it's you've explained in the videos as well. Listening more, you speak more, and with reading more, you can write better. So that is how they are related. But for me personally, in A1, A2, like if I'm creating in very basic A1, let's start from, because A1 is where we mainly do all the pronunciations, right? It's mainly A1 where we complete most of the pronunciations.
Correct.
So for every word, so let's say I'm doing a reading, for every word I used to create tables, split it into 3 columns. So French word in first, English meaning in second, and third, how to pronounce that word in English phonetics. So if you have to say parle or parle, just je parle. So the third column would split it up into phonetics, because every word has phonetics, right?
Yeah.
That it's split up into 3 or 4 phonetics. So ChatGPT can create that. It's just a simple command that you have, split it up into phonetics using English alphabets. And I try to pronounce, and I try to listen that am I pronouncing correct.
Overall, what would be your feedback, or what would be your testimony on A1, A2 structures? Did you like A1, A2 structure, how they are structurized in the programs?
Yeah, I mean, A1, A2, as I told you, I was super excited. Every day I completed work, I was like, okay, I'll go home, because A1, A2 has so much material. And when you pay money, you're like, okay, I need to use this, right? It's so interesting. And yeah, I was like, I'll go home. It's a 6-minute video. I can watch 10. Okay, let's not watch 10. Only do 5, because I have to revise it as well, right? But it's super interesting. I was so happy when I completed A1, A2, was when I got actually A1 or A2. Because in B1 and B2 you don't have much grammar concepts. You
Correct.
complete most of it, and only A1 and A2. But to answer your question, I was like, for me the structure was like, okay, this is very simple to do. A 5-minute video explains everything. I was like, yeah, it's something that I learned new today.
Yeah. As we are mainly prepping for a TEF specific practice, which actually just starts right at B1. So when you were in B1, when you went from A2 to B1, because I think that was the first time when you came in the sessions, and not even for whole B1 duration, just like for about last month, right? Because like we did 1 month of prep for B1, and then you moved on to B2. Following the online program of B1 and following the structure of Frenchify, what were the things that you kind of revealed to you, or what difference did you feel like that higher levels have when we compare it to A1, A2?
So A1, A2, it's all about French, and I think that is what your goal must be in the first 2 to 3 months, right? Like Bhavya also said in his video that if you are focusing on grammar, just focus on grammar. A1, A2 should be mainly about that. And when you go into B2, you slowly get exposed to only the section A's of speaking and writing, right? And for section B's, it has to be the B2 level, right? So I think it's a very proper exposure that you generally get. Because B1, B2, it's more about how to clear the exam, less about grammar and less about studying French. Because it's TEF Canada, what I personally think is TEF Canada, IELTS, it's not about how much English you know, it's about how to crack the exam itself. I've heard stories that even the people who came from France, they gave their exam, and because it's a very complex exam, they weren't able to properly catch the listening, right? The time in listening, what happens is you'll get these options for 10 seconds. If you don't answer, they'll just disappear, and there are traps used, vocabulary traps and whatsoever. So what I personally think, it's mainly prepping about the exam itself.
Correct. As we were discussing about B2, how was Frenchify B2 program for you? If we talk about every module, reading, listening, speaking, writing, what were the new things that you learned, or what were the things that you were like, okay, this is perfect, I can use it in the exam, and how did they help you overall in your learning and clearing TEF exam?
I'm obliged to follow the whole structure, right? Because this is created by everyone who have already cleared the exam already.
Yeah.
Because these were some techniques, like for writing as well. We have a proper structure for speaking as well. It's like stock questions. That's very simple. That you see this, you follow the template, and you write it in the exam. It's that simple, and that's what I followed as well in writing as well. You keep refining it, but it's generally that for writing we have a proper structure, and the answers written by the people who have already cleared the exams, like Harleen, I guess she got a CLB 10. Her responses, or your responses, that how for the people who cleared with a C1 score, that what template that they use. And it's very simple for writing and both speaking sessions.
Yeah.
It's only a structure that you have to follow, because it's only for the first few days. For the speaking as well, when I went into B2, I still remember the first session. I was with you, and we did so it was section B. I had to convince you to join a program where you have to pick up garbage, collect garbage, right? And I was like, okay, sir, let's try for 5 minutes, even if it's for 10 minutes. And you were like, no, let's do 10 minutes. And I was only able to do 3 minutes. I was like, okay. And then I had to follow the structure. It only took me one or two more speakings.
Yeah.
That's it. One or two more speaking. That's it. I was like, okay, I'm able to achieve at least 10-minute mark now. And it's what I think for speaking. It's very simple because it's it's a structured approach that you have to follow, and everything it's like, and you don't learn. I think I never learned something new. It was like you read again and again, and you just say it in your speaking. It's no hard and fast rule, I would say.
True.
It's just read and speak. That's it.
Yeah, true. No, that's true. What I've seen a lot of times is students, now, there are a lot of students who want to start learning French, and right from the beginning, they're like, okay, when do I get exam prep? When do I get exam prep? Okay, right when they're in the beginning of their journey. And I'm like, it won't make sense to just prep for the exam when you're starting the language learning. Why? Because language in itself is the exam as well, right?
Yeah.
But once you know enough language, and after that, once you do a proper exam prep, then it makes sense. Okay, so yeah, this is something, I'm just like sharing this with all my viewers, those who are watching this video, is that there is a proper time for everything, even when it comes to reading and listening. Now let's talk about that as well, Pulkit, because speaking and writing practice is a lot different than reading and listening practice. It requires a lot of time to keep on reading, to keep on listening, and I'll be asking you to share your notes as well that you have created. Show people how you used to study. We'll come on to that soon. But how was your listening and reading drill? How did you used to practice at higher levels? You first start with lower levels at A1, A2. Did you used to do reading, listening much?
Yeah. Reading was the only source of because we had to consume language. Up until B1, it's all about consumption. For reading, I used to use ChatGPT a lot. So if I have to create a reading for my own self in A2 level or B1 level, I was like, okay, Chat, create a story for me in which Pulkit murders someone, or I try to add my touch into it, so it makes more interesting. And because A1, A2, it's divided into, let's say, 14, 15 separate topics: weather, shopping, and it was again about this. Okay, creating personalized stories which are not that difficult, because you can use these AI apps to create these stories, right? So I was like, okay, Pulkit went to shopping, and you can add this, that I murdered someone. So with that, you can get fade the ways for writing A section as well. You can get ideas for that as well.
Yeah.
Reading I did throughout up until B1. That is what even at work I used to bring some notes, because you can at least read something, right? Because it's not that difficult. And they were like 50 to 100 word reading, and that is when I gradually went up until B2, when I was like, okay, I have to read for 4,000 words in a day, 3 to 4,000 words. So I didn't directly go to 4,000 for reading. It was like from anywhere, like Le Figaro or administrative documents. So you just copy or paste 4,000 words into a Google Doc, and then you keep studying it. So, and it was gradual, because you have to do basic reading first, like on A1, A2 levels, like ChatGPT created ones. But you cannot rely on ChatGPT ones after you hit B1 or B2. Then, so it's basically, then you go to administrative documents. Before starting Le Figaro, Le Monde, it was super difficult for me. Even up until the exam, I wasn't able to properly comprehend what's written in Le Figaro or Le Monde, because it's super difficult. I was like, okay, if I'm not able to do Le Monde or Le Figaro, let's try to focus on the 10 questions, administrative documents, and that's very easy. I was like, okay, reading if I have to score, so let's do those 10 questions. For listening, it was when I was in B1, I was doing A2 audios. When I was in B2, I was still doing, up until the exam date, I was doing inner French, which is a B1 level, RFI, Français Facile. These were all the things which I got exposed after I came into B2.
Got it.
Speaking and writing, they are considered the most easiest modules, because you only use what you know.
Correct.
Listening, reading, it could come from anywhere. You never know.
Correct. There's a wide vocabulary which you need to know, for which it requires a lot of volume consumption. Like the more you read daily 4,000 words, I know like at B2, this is my advice to every student. Like once you reach on to B2, you should focus on reading 4,000 words regularly. Okay. Yeah. And that amount of volume for reading, and same thing for listening, 2 to 3 hours of listening regularly is needed to properly start understanding those audios and be more comfortable with the accent. One thing, Pulkit, I want to talk about now the overall time that it took you to learn French, and so that other viewers also are watching this, or students also are watching this, they're able to understand that, okay, if it took this much time for Pulkit, it might take this much time for me. Okay, so can you explain, like in the beginning, A1, A2, when you were studying those levels, and then when you went on to B1, B2, how much regular average time it took you to get done with all those levels?
Yeah, let me explain you this like my overall journey of the time that I used to put in, right?
Yeah.
Because in the starting, A1, A2 students have this doubt that how many hours we are to put in to actually achieve that level, right? So for me, it was same that I was telling you that if I'm working 8 hours, I'm spending like 3-4 hours in travel. I used to come back home, and it was only 2 hours, and that was consistent for 2 hours was the average that I used to give. But A1, A2 was the only gap, I would say, where it might have could have gone to 3 hours. I got like super excited seeing conditional or something. But yeah, on an average, it was 2 hours, Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday, nothing, only analysis and making notes. Because if I've spent 6 hours or 8 hours on making the notes, and which are like in a proper learning method that is aligned to me, that this is good, this is something, this is a Pulkit related story, this is something that I can read, right? You've already done 50% of the job. The only thing is left, that you have to study it. Yeah. So for up until, I would say, until I left my job, it was 2 hours on average for 10 months, including gaps, right? So 10 months. And after, when I left my job, it took me 2 months until I cleared my exam. So 2 months full-time study which I had to give. Well, I knew if I have to give the mock exams, I cannot do it with my job. My job was like super stressful. I was working about, like I told you, bi-weekly. It was almost around 100 hours. Yeah. And my call was on call as well. I was handling a site, and I can receive a call at 2 in the morning to reach in Oakville, or just reach on site. Now, up until that time, it was 2 to 3 hours maximum, even in B1. And after that, because I wasn't used to studying that much, so in B2 it was 4 hours for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And then it went to, like, again I told you, it went, a peak comes then when you are reading, listening, so 6-7 hours it generally went to per day. And that was for a very short interval of time, I guess 2 to 3 weeks. And then it again came to 4 hours. It's generally 4 to 5 hours, right? Yeah. When you are, even if you are not working, it's generally 4 to 5 hours. That is what I have seen from my own self and other students.
Yeah, correct. So basically, clearing TEF exam for a complete beginner is possible in 9 to 10 months. You just have to be dedicated regularly for 3-4 hours.
Yeah. What happened on my exam day? I told you something, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. So I want to share that as well. That what happened on my exam day, and then you'll be like, okay, then it's completely possible.
Yeah.
If it happened to me, it could happen to you as well, right? On the exam day, firstly, I was talking to ChatGPT. I was like, for listening, reading, what can I do? And you know how ChatGPT, how persuasive it is, and you need a validation always. And ChatGPT was like, oh, you know what? Book an exam and don't tell anyone. Okay, that's great. That's a great idea. Even if you get a CLP4, no one would know, right? Like, okay, and it gave me that validation. I was like, okay, I won't tell anyone in the world. I'll just book the exam. If I come up with CLP4, that's okay. Telling people, it's like attracting eyes on you, and you get pressure.
True.
But my mind is still like that. On the exam date, November, before one day of the exam, we don't study, right? And I was like, okay, I'll get enough sleep. I was on bed. I was trying to sleep. I had to wake up at 7 in the morning because I had to go to North York for my exam. I had to wake up at 7 and leave at 7:45. I was like, okay, I'll at least try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep because listening and reading, 100%. It completely depends on how much sleep did you get, what your mood is. It's
Correct.
what I personally think.
Yeah.
At 2 in the morning, I am up. I haven't slept. I'm like, oh, I only have 5 hours left. What should I do? I took 2 paracetamols. I ate them at that time. I was like, okay, now I'll try to sleep. But I was unlucky. The anxiety overcame the paracetamols effect, I would say, and I didn't sleep even a single minute
Oh.
on the exam day. I was like, in the morning, I was already exhausted, 100% exhausted. I was like, why, just with me? Why this anxiety with me? I went to the exam. Okay, I said, okay, let's be positive because I had my speaking at 10:30
Mhm.
and I had a 2 hour gap. And after that, all three modules at around 1 to 4.
Mhm.
Okay. For speaking, I was in deep sleep. I was like I had to drink water. When the examiner started the recording, I was like sleeping, and after she started the recording, I started drinking water. She
Oh.
was looking at my face after she started the recording, and after she said bonjour, and I was like, okay, I'll drink some water, then I'll say, because my head was falling, right. I couldn't I didn't even realize where I was. I was like
Oh.
in deep sleep. It was already, until speaking, it was already more than 28 hours since
Oh
I've
my
slept.
God.
So my speaking, that is the reason my speaking went for the worst.
Yeah, correct. Because like
yeah.
we were planning easily. Like we were planning like CLB 8-9 for sure.
Yeah.
So what
For
happened
section,
when
for
you would?
section A,
Hmm.
it went good. It went good. I asked around 8 questions, I would say 8 to 9, not 10. That is what I think. I don't even remember what happened on that day.
Hmm.
I spoke, I think 8 and 9 questions. But section A was like, I spoke every connector that I knew in the world. I was like, it was proper chronology, like pour matron qui était despechit, like the ones that I use, right? For if I have to if I had to ask about guarantee of la sécurité publique, j'ai utilisé j'ai dit pour matron qui était despechit, pourriez-vous me préciser, pourriez-vous me décrire les mesures pour la sécurité publique, something like that. Like, okay, section A went well, but it's mainly about section B.
Yeah.
Section B was where I think I messed up.
Okay.
The topic, I knew most of the topics, because in French we have practiced a lot in 2 months, right? But it was again about I was sleepy. My mind wasn't functioning even at 25-30%. And you know what I did in my speaking exam was like, I stood up and I started looking like at the examiner's paper board. I was like, oh, what are you doing, Pulkit? Okay, so I sat down and so I made 2 mistakes for what I think might could have dropped my score in speaking. It was for an argument. She said all the dishes that I create are spicy, and no one loves spicy, right? And the response I gave was like, tout le monde adore, like everyone likes spicy. I was like, no reasoning, no nothing. I was like, what are you saying, Pulkit? And the last, I don't know, and I remember I said that instead of that, it will help you to become un scientifique d'alimentation. I said, I want to become a scientifique d'alimentation. I was like, okay, I have messed up here. But I think the connectors or the flow that I used overcame these 2 to 3 mistakes. And I still landed on CLB 7. I was like, okay, if I get a 5, or I was expecting a mid 6 something, because section A went good. But what I think for section A, because it went a little too good, could have covered the section B mistakes.
Correct.
And yeah, and the worst part was the comprehension parts now, because you have to stay, you have to keep your eyes shut. And I was this is the best part, I'll tell you. So it was reading, listening, and then writing. So I had Red Bulls. I had 2 Red Bulls and 2 coffees, like espresso shots, sub dal ke. I was drinking that, and just before the exam, and reading me, I wasn't able to complete all the questions because every line I read, I was like, and the screen was here because if I had to do anything, if I was sitting there, I would fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because until reading started, it was what 30 more than 30 hours in that slide. I was like, okay, I have to keep the screen here. I was reading like this. First 20 questions, it was very easy because it's short questions, right?
Yeah.
And but as we got into administrative documents and as we got into the last ones, the press articles, it was like super difficult for me. So I was only able to do 34 questions because I wasn't completely attentive at that time. Okay, 34 questions that I did, like, because even if I've tried at home with the mock exams, I only used to do 34, 35. I've sent you, right? You were like, okay, Pulkit, fix this. You have to attempt because the last questions, they weigh more, right? But even when I used to practice at home, the accuracy was almost 90 to 95%. And that is what happened in the exam as well, no? So after 34, it was all C. I was like, okay, let it be. And I got a CLB 8 in reading. That was like, I'm surprised. So if I did 34 questions, even if let's say 1 or 2 were correct from the last 8, so we are talking about 30 questions or 29 or 30 questions that were correct from 34.
Yeah. So out of 40 questions, you attempted 34, and out of those 34, at least 30 were correct. And
29 or 30. Yeah. And yeah, moving on to listening. Listening is the only, because in reading you have the ease that you can go back and forth, but in listening, so I did was on my bench. So in this whole the listening was a drama because the invigilator was sitting back to me, and after every 3 to 4 questions, you get a little gap, right? That this is what the next questions would be, right? So every 3 to 4 questions, I used to slap myself on the face and in front of everyone. Every 3 to 4 questions, because I've spent $400. I'm not just letting it go. The invigilator can think whatever she wants to, but after every 3 to 4 questions, I kept slapping the whole on my face the whole exam, and it was like proper slapping. I was slapping, and when I came back home, it was like I was showing my brother, see, look at this. If you don't see that is what happened. But I think the Red Bull worked when I started my writing, and because that was the time. And I never ever learned in writing because you get an on-screen keyboard, right? I never ever learned the shortcuts, even in the exam. And let me tell you, I was able to complete the first section in 13-14 minutes, and that was 130 words. The first section, you will see a word counter, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to complete that 13-14 minutes without shortcuts. With mouse, I was typing because I used to practice the website that you told.
Lexi logos.
Yeah, that one. I used to practice that, and I was like, I'm able to manage my time. Why should I learn the shortcuts? Everyone has their own method. You can learn the shortcuts as well. But if you want to opt in this method, you have practiced a lot. That I was able to manage time. Yeah. So 13 or 14 minutes for the writing section A, which was like still okay because I had a rich variety of connectors. Section B, which is where the time it's crucial, I was able to complete that in 27 minutes, 340 words, and that too because writing I've practiced a lot. I used with ChatGPT in the last week. I said, okay, let's change all my connectors. I said, okay, give me all the connectors that are C2 level, and I used all C2 level connectors, and because it's not that you can put in a C2 connector and just write anything. So I was like, I asked ChatGPT that how to use these connectors. I had a proper one day. I spent a proper day. If at least the examiner if the examiner checks my exam, at least my connectors are top of the line.
Good.
That's what happened in writing. But yeah, listening was super fun. I mean, it gave me. When I came back home, my result came after 8 days. Even with 0 hours of sleep, I was able to get that 7878 score.
Pulkit, tell me one thing. seeing all your hard work that you have done so far and the whole structure that you followed, would it be justified if someone is looking at your journey today and they're like, oh, you know, Pulkit ne kar diya. He was able to do it in his first attempt. He attempted 34 questions, and out of 34, 29, 30 got correct. Might just be a luck, right? Would that statement justify? If yes or no, whatever the answer is, show us the proof.
So yeah, I showed it to you on the exam day. You never saw this, so I collected this. I'll show you. So this is all what I've worked through in my journey. This is a big. So this is the white ones are mostly the exam preparation.
Yeah.
The black files are A1, A2, B, A1, A2, and some of the B1 prep. And this is all exam prep. This is what justifies my luck, I would say. If I was lucky, I could have slept properly, I would say.
True.
This was the only reason that if I was not lucky, I was still able to get that score. That I had a proper grasp of the language, even with 20% of my mind or 30% of my mind that I was able to use, I was still able to get that score. My luck comes into score in only those scenarios like I did okay for the last 6 questions that could have saved me from a 7 or 8 score, but for the first 7 you have to get the 28-30 score.
Correct. No, that's perfect. That's a very good lesson for others to learn, that you can feel that okay, you know, if I just attempt my exam, like right now I'm at A2 or right now I'm at B1, I can just still try the exam and I'll get CLB 7. It's just not going to happen. It requires a proper training, requires the proper comfortability with the exam and with the format. And only if you feel properly confident, okay, this is the time where now I am fluent in the language. Now let's book the first attempt, okay, and see where I stand, and then so forth. I think that is the time that you should decide. Okay, now I can give my exam and expect something. Otherwise, it's going to be of no use. And Pulkit, what about the community part when it comes to learning French? You know, you were interacting regularly with Frenchify community. Not only you, but there are other aspirants as well. Those who are on the same grind and were on the same grind, those who have cleared their exams. So how much do you think is important for someone to be in the same correct and a proper mind state?
It's very important, because for me personally, that it's all about even less about preparation and more about the confidence, you know, because listening, if I say listening was my weakest link back then, right, let's say 2 months ago or a month ago, I saw the student who got CLB 11.
Jogeshwar. Yeah,
Jogeshwar. Yeah, he got a CLB 11
just a week ago. Yeah,
you'll be more confident on seeing someone clear the exam who was with you in the class, who you discuss with, or who you practice with. And for me, it was like for speaking practices, if we ever felt that it was not enough in the classes, which was never, but when you approach the exams, you have to increase the volume, right? And so it was me, Sukhpreet and Jay. We were like every day on 9 p.m. we were practicing, and that really helped a lot, even for them, because for me the strongest was speaking. I was helping them for speaking, and those two people. So Sukhpreet was the only reason I started reading and listening, and because she told me that she used to read and listen 4,000 words a day. I was like, when I heard it from you or from Darshan, I was like, that couldn't be true, right? But when I heard it from Sukhpreet that she was actually doing it, and she got a CLB 8 in her reading.
Correct.
Yeah. So after her motivation, and after she told me that you have to do this in this manner, and she shared all her readings with me. So that is when I started reading and listening. Otherwise, I would have been reading these simple stories. Then that was the only time I switched to administrative documents and Le Figaro, and then I gave my Prep My Future exam. So when I gave my Prep My Future exam, all 10 of those administrative documents came from what I just completed, from what I just read, and all 10 of those questions were correct. I was like super happy. Oh, this method actually works. So yeah, staying with the community, I would say कि definitely helps you for all modules. मुझे तो because speaking was my only good part. For most of the people, it's opposite.
Correct.
People do listening, reading, and writing a lot, but it's for their speaking. So that is how me and our class group shared everything. And yeah, it gives us confidence. After she gave the exam, me and Jay were like confident. Okay, now it's our time now.
Okay, yeah, let's move on to the next round, which is going to be rapid fire. Okay, first question: what is hardest French word you still struggle to pronounce?
Pertinent. So this is a mistake I have made in the exam as well. This was a mistake.
Remember?
Yeah, I pronounce it as pertinent, but it's pertinent.
Pertinent. Correct. Biggest lie you heard about learning French?
That I wouldn't be able to clear the exam. that is like actual for speaking, because I've heard a lot of videos about that in 30 seconds because 30 seconds they are just for reading the document, and you are left with only 30 seconds, and you have to pursue the person in front of you for any topic in the world, and you don't know. And that's like very difficult, and as compared to IELTS, it's like super difficult, but it was not. Speaking for me was the easiest thing to do.
What was harder, starting A1 or restarting after your break?
I would say restarting after my break, because A1, A2 was fun. It was for me, yeah. Because of the structure, A1, A2 was like super fun, as I have defined throughout.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. Listening, reading, writing, or speaking, what was your weakest aspect and strongest?
Reading was the worst for me, because I practiced listening, and reading, I've never done La Figaro L'Homme. It's super difficult.
Yeah.
And the strongest was speaking, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, yes. Speaking, I know, yeah. When did the language click in your mind? When you were like, okay, now I'll clear the exam. Was there any specific moment?
It's multiple times. So it'll be, you'll feel a lot. You'll feel this moment a lot in B1, apparently. But the actual moment is in B2, but you'll feel a lot of times in B1, because if you listen to a podcast in B1, you'll be like, I understand now. Yeah. After 1 month in B1, you'll be like, I understand a podcast, I understand a French video, or I understand a French advertisement. So that B1 is the time I was like, okay, now I understand French, now let's do the exam prep.
Your biggest motivation while you were learning French?
That I have to go back to India. I have no other option. My PR was the biggest motivation that I've had.
One thing you sacrificed to study French?
My job itself. Yeah. I mean, I was a supervisor. The job I got was back again in May. So this was a good job. All my family, for insurance, all my family was covered. It was great benefits, sick calls. And I had to let that go.
Okay. No, but it opened up a new door into your life, I believe. So I think it was worth it. Your parents' first reaction when you cleared TEF?
When did you give the exam? So no one. So parents were like, when did you give the exam? It's booked for Ottawa, no? So it's the next month. What do you mean by I cleared the exam? And it was for everyone. I was like, I cleared the exam. I called my brother, I cleared the exam. What exam?
Yeah.
So everyone was like, what exam are you talking about? And throughout that, after the exam, throughout that week, I kept saying, I'll call you tomorrow. And my result took 8 days. And it made me anxious throughout.
Yeah.
And finally the day came. So the first person was, it was my cousin who I told. And the second person, I think, I messaged you, hey, could you call me please?
Yeah. Perfect. One sentence in French that describes your journey?
I would say, I've printed it. It's right in front of me, staring me in the face. It gives me motivation. It's in French. Je me promets d'être le meilleur. I promise myself to be the best.
Perfect. And complete the sentence. Okay, I'll say the sentence completed. French is hard until
you realize that it's only a language, and until you realize you only have to clear an exam and not to learn the whole French. It'll be in B1 when they'll start you. This is the only exam. this is only the exam that I'm learning. I'm not learning the whole French language.
True, correct. Yes, that is all. Thank you so much, Pulkit. It was very detailed, and I saw a very different perspective. Like generally, when students are learning, they have a little bit of negative relation with French, but you've always taken it positive, and that's something that I admire in you. Keep growing. Thank you for
Yeah.
this video.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the work that you are putting in. I never imagined that I would be in place of Darshan Patel or Harleen
Yeah.
sitting in front of you doing this interview. I'm super happy. Thanks a lot for the work that you are doing as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the hard work. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay motivated. Keep on learning French. If you guys want to start learning French, reach out to us. Now, Pulkit's writings will be in our B2 programs as well. So now you guys will be seeing Pulkit's writing and speaking tasks as well. Okay. So this was Pulkit's journey of learning French with Frenchify. He cleared his exam in just about 9.5 months. If you want to follow the same pathway that Pulkit took, make sure to register for Frenchify programs. On A1 self-study or intensive program, you'll be able to get $50 discount if you use this discount code Pulkit50. So make sure to use it. And I have 2 more interviews coming very soon of other 2 students who recently cleared their TEF TCF exam as well. So make sure to stay updated. And also, if you want to watch previous students, those who cleared TEF exam with Frenchify, make sure to click onto this link. Oh, wow.